Now all the stuff I'm going to talk about in this video will purely be from research. I don't know everything, and I'm definitely not a master of the grime genre. I just rate bars. And that being said, let's get into it. Off rip, let's look at the name of the song and the cover art, Wiley Flow. Now, using our big brains, we can expect to hear some reference to a Wiley Flow in this song. If not, we have been clickbaited. If you don't know who Wiley is, he's known as the godfather of grime, and that's because he's recognised as a man who created grime and started this scene that has blown up so much today. But this video is not about his background, so if you want to know more about him, you'll have to look elsewhere, because quite frankly, I don't care. Balls. Alright, now it looks like Stormzy's paying homage just off the cover art alone, as it's very similar to Wiley's Tunnel Vision projects. It's got the same background theme, being in the underground tube station, it's got the same colours, the same font, the man's in a similar position, but on Wiley's one you can clearly tell it's him, on this one it's just kind of a silhouette. But yeah, that's definitely took the inspiration from there. But why is Stormzy all of a sudden paying homage to Wiley? Well, Wiley's been in the spotlight a lot recently, and mostly for the wrong reasons. In short, he's been taking shots at a lot of the big names like Drake, Ed Sheeran, calling them culture vultures and pretty much saying that they just want to benefit off this genre of music and like tap into a new audience for personal gain to like rise in the charts. I think this is a load of waffle, and Wiley's just a melt, but you know, each to their own. Then, when Stormzy made a grime track with Ed, Take Me Back to London, Wiley commented on his Insta post, and then Stormzy backed Ed, while also staying respectful towards Wiley. And you know, that's rightly so, because as he said, he's been doing it from early, and as you can see in this screenshot here, this is nearly 9 years ago. Back in 2010, Ed made a video with Devlin back on SBTV. So you know, he's been around the scene for a while. He's not a grime artist obviously, but at least he understands it and respects it. And then there was this comment left on that video which I thought was crease. Someone said, Wiley criticising Ed Sheeran for taking advantage of the rap culture, and YouTube algorithm puts this on our homepage. Even YouTube thinks Wiley is a donut. Alright, I've been talking for bare long, so let's just actually get into the song itself.
Bruv, I didn't look at it this way before, but as I approach my birthday, all you man are my youngers. You man are my youngers, bruv.
Even before Stormzy comes in, this guy has something to say. And I mean, at the end of the day, the fella's literally just boasting about being older than everyone else in the scene. But Wiley sees this as a way to look down at everyone else. I would fully understand this point if he was the GOAT or one of the best, but he ain't, at least in my opinion. Don't get mad. I mean, I can already see all the Wiley fanboys itching to make a comment.
If you can't do 10k for a suite, then I don't want to hear no chat about numbers. You man are my youngers, all blacked out like grungers. 10s and 20s and 100s, 10s and 20s and thousands. I can't ever just loud them. On Mount Everest shouting, soon go back to the mountains. Third album.
His entrance here was just dirty. And I mean, he says 10k first week. This must mean 10,000 sales, not streams or views, because I mean, anyone with a remote following can pull that off nowadays. And I mean, this would be aimed at Wiley, but Wiley was able to pull off these numbers, especially in his prime with songs like Heatwave that hit #1 in the UK charts. And then more recently, we got Boasty. So I don't think it was aimed at anyone in particular, but just more like stating a point to anyone coming up in the scene. Just tell them to stay in their place, basically. And then on Mount Everest shouting is just another flex, pretty much saying that he's on top right now, especially in the UK rap and grime scene. The only other person that's like semi-competing, I'd say, is Dave. And we all know that Stormzy highly rates Dave. He's called him the GOAT many times in the past. And in his latest music video, Sounds of the Skeng, Stormzy's on top of a mountain. Very fitting. The last bit where he says third album's a bit confusing to me, as he's only had one album, which is Gang Signs and Prayers. His other project before that was an EP called Dreamer's Disease, so technically he's only had one. He's yet to release his second, which he said he was working on God knows how long ago. And now he said he might go back to the mountains to work on the third. Fella, you need to release the second one first.
Nigga, I blessed the beat with smoke, and my day one bros, they kept me close. Then I sit my technique, take a tour. They're trying to get me on the ropes. I broke it, especially in this cold. So please, man, let's just be adults and don't be flexing in my boat. Nigga, you can't test me, I'm the GOAT.
Bless the beat with smoke. He's pretty much saying he's killing it, which he is. But if you want to really go unnecessarily deep into this and break it down, you could say that fire makes smoke. If something's fire in rap, it's good, hence fire in the booth. Or smoke could also relate to firing a gun or a gunfight. You don't want no smoke. Smoke comes out of a gun. You fire it. Alright, I'm looking too deep. You get the point. He's good. Tetley take a toke, have a cup of tea and bun a zoot. Standard. Especially, I assume's a gun. So he's pretty much saying let's just be adults and settle this nicely because you don't want his mate to bring it out. And then saying he's the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I believe that every big rapper in the game has said this at one point. As I mean, you've got to have the confidence.
Rolex collections looking dope. I got the Pepsi and the hope. And I ain't flexing on you niggas, car still be sexy if I'm broke. Wait there, and I was made to win, like I'm designed to blow. We're doing major things, but it's a minor though. I used to pay for things, but that was time ago. When now I hit you niggas with the Wiley Flow, it's like.
Before we get into that Wiley Flow, Stormzy wants to let us know that his Rolex collection's looking dope. And a lot of people would look past this as just a flex, but it's actually a reference to one of Wiley's first big tracks that went mainstream, called Wearing My Rolex. This peaked at 2nd in the UK charts back in 2008, and I guarantee if you're from the UK, you would recognise it. So here's a clip of that.
That's when I start promising the world to a brand new girl I don't even know yet. Next thing she's wearing my Rolex. What would we do? Usually drink, usually dance, usually bubble. All I want to do is tell you I love.
And then the Pepsi and the Hulk refer to two different kinds of Rolexes, which start at around 7 grand each, if I was looking at the right ones. And obviously green for the Hulk, and then blue and red for Pepsi.
Bad 'em up once. Never could you take me for a dance. Been on the scene for 100 months. All I met is bare cunts. Take man for lunch. Either you get punched. Pick one boy from your bunch. Tell man jump. Oh well, you didn't want to jump well. Oh well, look now you're slumped. Little nigga, I swear. Little nigga, I swear. Get out my lane. Get out my lane.
Stormzy takes this flow from Wiley's song Bad 'em Up.
Make so much peace you can't add 'em up. Bad him up, bad him up, bad him up once. If you wanna come and take man for a dance. I've been on the grind for 100 months and I ain't stopped doing music not once.
He even used this flow in a Boiler Room set back in 2015.
Bad 'em up once. Never could you take me for a dance. Man, I've been ruled from the jump. Let me not stunt. I want them over 10 months. Bad 'em up, bad 'em up, bad 'em up once. Never could you take me for a dance. Man, I've been ruled from the jump. Let me not stunt. I want them over.
And 100 months is just over 8 years, and Stormzy's first track he released on YouTube was on June of 2011, so that sounds about right. The swerve and get out my lane bars were slick, relating to cars swerving between lanes on the road, and saying that people don't deserve to be in his lane musically.
North and east and west are hot, but the south's on flames. This year I'ma be a household name. I grew up in a house of pain. I don't do it for the clout or fame. All the real niggas gonna vouch for my name. All the real niggas gonna vouch for my. Yeah.
Obviously it all comes down to preference of who you like, but he does have a point here in terms of popularity. Stormzy himself, Dave, Krypton Conan, all massive names from the south. And I mean, he says he wants to be a household name. He already is in my house at least. My parents don't listen to this type of music, but at least they know who Stormzy is. And he's only going to get bigger from here on out. And him talking about not doing it for the clout or fame is actually a relief to hear, because nowadays there are so many artists that just talk a load of bollocks about the same shit every single song. J1. Nah, brother, I'm joking. But yeah, you can tell with Stormzy the effort that goes into his craft, the level of music he's been putting out recently. It's good to see.
If you ain't got more than 5 top 10s, then I don't want to hear no chat about charting. You man are just starting. Coming like a young Chris Martin. Start swinging with my arms like Carlton. Start swinging with my arms like Anthony. All my niggas been charged, don't amp me. Have you missing a bra and panty? If you see me in a dance, I'm anti. Quite frankly.
Talking about 5 top 10s, again this isn't aimed at Wiley, because Wiley has had 8 top 10s, including both singles and albums, according to the official charts. And Stormzy has had 7, so this is actually one statistic where Wiley comes out on top, showing his presence of being in the game for a long time. Chris Martin's the lead singer and co-founder of Coldplay, so when he says you man are just starting, coming like a young Chris Martin, this isn't actually a dig, because Chris Martin's very successful, so if anything, I'd look at this as motivation for everyone else, because you have to start somewhere. Before you're a superstar, you're just a normal person. Then there's a reference to the CARLTON dance from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which works nicely with the next line, swinging my arms like Anthony, talking about Anthony Joshua the boxer, pretty much saying he's ready to throw hands. Charge has a double meaning here. You could take it as a criminal charge, pretty much saying his boys have done and are willing to do some dirt, but then in reference to amp, it's related to electricity, standard unit of measurement, and then amp again, but in colloquial speech, means that someone's complaining loudly about something. So yeah, quite a detailed bar.
Heavyweight champion of the world. They wanna woo me from my belt. If you ever hear Stormzy caught a nail. No, I stood tall before I fell. There's a couple birthdays coming up, so I took like a quarter from the shelf. Spent like 100 on my mum, then about 140 on myself. The melee I sported like Pharrell, but I got the Nautilus as well. All of these stories that I live, my nigga, these are the stories that I tell.
I like how he goes from mentioning Anthony Joshua to saying he's the heavyweight champion of the world, because obviously AJ was the heavyweight champion before Ruiz stripped him of all of his belts. And after his breakup with Maya Jama, she posted this picture on her Insta, which sparked some controversy and some good memes, to which Stormzy replied with this picture captioned, "You lot think you're fucking funny, yeah? Cool," with the date of the release date for his previous video, Sounds of the Skeng. Then he casually mentions taking $250,000 from the shelf to spend on his mum and himself. This could be a link to his 100 Bag song from Gang Signs and Prayers where he says this.
Garney and Queen, let them know that you're back. Calm, mommy ain't never seen 100 bags. Now I'm like, mum, buy 100 bags.
And obviously 100 bags means £100,000. The Millet is a Swiss watch by Richard Millet, and the Nautilus is another Swiss watch by Patek Philippe, so it's fair to say Stormzy likes his watches.
Wait there, and I was made to win, like I'm designed to blow. We're doing major things, but it's a minor though. I used to pay for things, but that was time ago. When now I hit you niggas with a Wiley Flow, it's like run up on them, man, laughing, fuck it. You got a chain, but you tuck it, fuck it. Man, throw dirt on my name, blood, fuck it. Slew anybody in the family, fuck it. Run up on them, man, laughing, fuck it. You got a chain, but you tuck it, fuck it. Man, throw dirt on my name, blood, fuck it. Slew anybody in the family,
This hook is another flow he has taken from one of Wiley's tracks. This happens to be a diss to The Movement, a group which consisted of the artists Getz, Wretch32, Scorcher and Merkston. This diss is called Night Bus Dubplate.
I will come through right shoulder barge you. If you was at the top, I just flew past you. Ran up on the movement laughing, fuck it. Justin's wife's got a bucket, fuck it. Not none of you could chuck it, fuck it. Slew anybody in the family, fuck it. Run up on the movement laughing, fuck it. Justin's wife's got a bucket, fuck it. Not one of you could chuck it, fuck it. Slew anybody in the family, fuck it.
Last 3 tunes kinda prove that I did this. Man, what you say I put a U on my shit list. Must be the same old you in the dinner hall, primary, sipping on my juice and my biscuits. I'm from a place where you move to the witness, stare in your face telling business is business. Came for the fame, but she stayed for the litness. Ask your new girl, she loves Mr. Skang. You never ever see me with guys known for verbals. My brothers pull up a sky, no rehearsals. Don't switch sides, there's no role reversals. How's the best spitter in grime so commercial? Wait.
Stormzy again used the flow from Wiley's diss, and the instrumental even follows the same pattern, where the drums cut off and the whole beat returns as he switches flow.
You was gonna bust, you transpast and you missed it. Last 3 dubs hit the movement and crushed it. So I'm on the stage and I rushed it, I've sussed it. Must be the same old kid in a dinner hall, primary, eating apple crumble and custard. I got it in me, I'm raging, fuck it. Ran up on Scorcher's ting and I fucked it. Tried to deny it's your new girl, fuck it. Just tell the truth, you love Lady Nike, I let go. Long time when Karim fucked it.
Another thing that I just found out was that Wiley produced the beat to his song all by himself, so fair play to him. How's the best spitter in grime so commercial? Again, all subject to opinion. But I do know some older people who don't necessarily listen to this genre of music all the time, but they like Stormzy. And especially on this track, he's showing what he's capable of. Even though he's got a lot of commercial tracks and can appeal to a large audience, he still knows where he came from, and he has that gritty aspect to him that everyone loves.
Nobody said you're good, done your chat. Your girl take the wood, lumberjack. Hit him with a lighter flex, humble brag. I can't drop the bag, I'm the bag. Yeah. Yeah. If you ain't got no platinum plaques, then I don't wanna hear no chat about. No, I'm joking, man.
Your girl take the word lumberjack. Don't think I need to explain that one. And then I can't drop the bag, I'm the bag. Now that line's quality, and to be fair, true. I mean, unless he falls off and starts making shit songs, which is looking highly unlikely, he's in a solid position right now. And then ending it with the platinum plaques line. This one could be aimed at Wiley, as he doesn't actually have any platinum songs or albums, but you know, he said he's joking, so we're going to let that one slide on by. And then we see here HITH, which is most likely going to be his next album, so you know, we've got that to be looking forward to. And best believe if the bars are coming like this, if the song quality is this good, then I'll be making videos on that as well. So yeah, that was my breakdown and overall reaction to Stormzy's song Wiley Flow. At the time of making this video, it's actually breached into the top 40, which is quite surprising, as it's not a commercial song by any means, and it'll be interesting to see if it continues to rise. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, leave a like if you liked it, subscribe and all that stuff. See you in the next one, in a bit.